Hey, this is Mike doing another video on my Easy Set Intex pool. For most of you, you've already seen my videos. I've got several of them. If you click on my image down in the bottom left corner of your YouTube screen, you can see several videos that I've made. But mostly everybody was commenting on one video. And I want to thank everybody that left comments, both good and bad. But I wanted to address some of the questions. There were a lot of questions, more so than comments. The biggest question, and I guess disbelief, is that I spent so much money for a cheap, crappy blow-up pool. I have a reason for that, and I'm going to go into that more when you see the video that we're about to cut into here in a second. A lot of people said, man, for 16 grand you could have put an in-ground pool in your backyard. Well, no, you can't. Not in Austin, Texas. Now, there are different types of in-ground pools. They have some that are already prefabricated. They're basically fiberglass, and they bring it out a big truck and they dig a hole and they set that thing in the ground. To me, that's still a plastic pool. If I'm going to do an in-ground pool, it's going to be concrete and rebar, the traditional style of in-ground pool. That type of pool was an option, but then again, it wasn't. Not just because it was going to cost $40,000, but there were challenges that I was going to face if I was going to even consider it. In addition to that, in the city of Austin, Texas, you cannot just dig a hole in your backyard and put a pool in. There's permitting, there's survey work. Not only that, I had to get HOA approval. That wasn't going to happen. So it was a lot easier for me to put this Intex pool set up in my backyard. And yes, $16K is a lot of money, and the pool is only worth a few $100. I get it, I really do. But I'm one of those guys that'll take something small and overdo it. It's a cheap, crappy pool. Yeah, I get it. If it wears out in a season and it cracks or starts leaking air or won't hold water or whatever the case is, I'm just gonna replace it. It's $200. So there was a method to my madness, and you'll hear more about the details of why I put this pool up and how I did it. But let's cut to the video. I want to show you something. Check it out. Okay, in response to everybody's comments about my pool video, a lot of people wanted to know why I spent so much money and didn't just put an in-ground pool in my backyard. Okay, well, let's go down the list. First of all, this is one of the big problems. As you can see, this is the right side of my house. I live here. There is physically no way to get heavy equipment to the backyard. Now, yes, you can dig a hole and you can manually take it out with wheelbarrows, which would be a real chore. But any pool contractor that's going to want to come dig your pit in the back for a huge pool, they're going to want to use a bobcat or a skid steer. And this concrete sidewalk that I put in years ago is not going to support the weight of several tons for a bobcat plus the dirt. It's just not going to support it. It's going to crack it. And as you can see, I have a small gate, so all of this fencing would have to be taken down. Now, I could make a deal with my neighbor, and I don't know what that deal would look like, but I would have to destroy all of his grass and take down his fence, and then the fence that separates both houses. So that was just out of the question. Now, what I'm going to do is take you to the other side of the house and show you what I'm dealing with over there. Because, like I said, there were a lot of people that commented, just thought I was out of my mind. Not just from a money standpoint, but because they thought I put so much effort into it. Why didn't I just go with an in-ground pool? Well, man, I wish I could have, and there's several topics that we're gonna talk about, and one of them is accessibility. So here is the left side of my house. As you can see, I've got sidewalks. They're only 28 inches wide. That's it, okay? There is physically no way to get heavy equipment on either side of my house to access the backyard. It wouldn't happen. It just can't be done. Now, again, I could make a deal with this guy and destroy all of his grass, which I'm sure he wouldn't appreciate. And yeah, that grass is not the best in the world. None of us have great grass in this neighborhood because the soil is so bad. Like I commented on another video, that's one of the reasons why I went with concrete. See, I have landscaping back here. There's the slab and the deck as it sits this moment, because I took the fire pit down that you saw earlier in the video, and I'm getting everything prepped to put the pool back. So let's go look at this. As you see, I took that lattice work down. There's a piece of it underneath the stairs. I left that piece in place. All the other lattice that I had that you saw in the photo at the beginning of this video, it acted kind of like a blinder, so that when the fire pit was here and everybody was sitting around, you weren't looking at all that plumbing work. I didn't want to remove all the plumbing. I wanted to leave it where it was at, so I had lattice that was just like this all around this edge right here, and it blocked off a lot of what you see right now. Okay, so putting an in-ground pool would have been great. Let's talk about another reason why I did not go with an in-ground pool. Okay, I don't know where all of you viewers live in the United States, but let me tell you something about Austin. You are not going to put an in-ground pool in your backyard without pulling a permit. A licensed and insured pool contractor must pull a permit with the city of Austin along with their information. It has to get approved along with plans before any construction will commence, and there will be city inspectors coming out to look at the project during each phase. So there were a few people that said, you know, you're an idiot, you should have just dug the hole and did it yourself. And yeah, first of all, I'm a contractor, but I'm not a pool contractor. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, and to do it right means pulling permits. Now, that's not the end of the world. I pull permits every day for different types of retail construction that I do. But Austin is very, very strict when it comes to in-ground pools. Now, above-ground pools are excluded. They don't care what kind of above-ground pool you put. I did, however, have to get HOA approval for this. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I did not get HOA approval. I said, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and put that shed, and I'm going to put that deck, put the slab, and all of this. And long story short, they found out about it. And I had to submit plans. They wanted to know who the general contractor was that put all this in. And even though I did not build that shed, Tough Shed did it, I built everything else. I did it all myself. And when they found out I was a general contractor, I got lucky. They let it slide. But if you think that you're going to put an in-ground pool in your backyard here in Austin without pulling a permit through the city, they will make you pay. The cost of the fine itself could be as much as $20,000, okay? And they will make you backfill it with dirt. So you're not going to pull a slick move and try to go around the system. If you're going to build a pool in Austin, in ground, no matter what size it is, it does not matter. You have to have surveys done. You have to make sure that you've got soil compaction tests. There's all kinds of stuff that you have to do. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to put an in-ground pool. Now, yeah, I've got the space. I got plenty of space. Look at all that yard. But this is why, and I guess there's a lot of people out there that were questioning my integrity. They thought I was lying. $40,000 it would have cost me for an in-ground pool, for a contractor to put an in-ground pool back here. And that's if I could overcome the dilemma of the fencing on both sides of the house that you just saw. So part of that $40,000 is all of the permitting and the survey work and the dilemma of how we're going to get dirt from the back to the front. That's what that $40,000 is. That's where that number comes from. So a lot of people just think I was just making stuff up. I'm not making it up, okay? It costs a lot of money to put a pool in, especially if you have the challenges that I do in my backyard. Here's the thing. Everybody also asked why I decided to go with a vinyl pool, a cheap pool. Well, there is a reason why I chose to do that cheap pool. Yes, I know it's only going to last a season or two and it's going to be trash and I'm going to have to buy another one. Okay, that pool literally only cost $200. I paid $1,500 because it was the summer of 2020. The factories were shut down because of COVID, and I paid a premium price. Okay, normally that pool, you're right, $200 or $300 max. Well, $200 or $300, that's, to me, that's nothing. I mean, yeah, it's money, but there's times I've gone to the mall on a Saturday and threw away $500 in stuff I didn't really need. So I can afford to replace that $200 pool if the inflatable donut on the top gets bad and it won't hold air anymore, it starts leaking, or whatever the situation is, I'll buy another pool and set it there. But the reason I did not go with a metal-sided pool, number one, metal and water and acids do not mix. I don't care what kind of metal it is. You got to remember, chlorine is an acid. This is just my personal opinion here. I did not want to deal with rusting metal. Now, there are people I know that have had an above ground pool that's got metal components and it hasn't rusted in 10 years. Okay, you got lucky. You got lucky. So it does not happen to everybody. But I have seen videos on YouTube where somebody had rusted components to their pool within a year, one season. I didn't want to deal with that. Now, why did I spend 16 grand to put this pool and build this deck? Because it's what I do. I'm one of those guys. I basically took a turd and put a polish on it. Yeah, it's still a turd, but you know what? I made a nice deck. I enjoy the pool. It was a small price to get me by for the next 2 years because I'm going to be selling this house in the next 2 years. I did not want to simply just throw that pool on the ground. I wanted to do something a little better than that. So this is what I came up with. I don't want to invest $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in a pool setup when I'm going to be leaving in 2 years. I'm selling this house. We are having an architect design our forever home. We're going to buy some land, and I've got a $75,000 budget for an in-ground pool with lava rock, waterfall, and all that kind of fancy stuff. This was just to get me through the next few years so I can have a pool. Okay, I wanted it to be nice for the time that I'm here. Now, if you remember that pit that was sitting there with all those chairs around it, okay, there it is. There's that pit. So I just set it here. That's my coffee table. It's got a teak top that came with it. You take that off, that's the pit. Now, I'm obviously not going to use the pit here on my patio, but there it is. And then there's the chairs, okay, and I've got two more. Oh yeah, they're up there on top of the deck. I've got these chairs and tables. We sit out here and have a glass of wine, little gathering area. But this is what it looks like one weekend prior to me putting the pool up. That pool is folded up in the shed. I'm going to unfold it. I got to put that above ground pool liner down. It's felt. I'm going to lay that out, put the pool on top, fill it up just like I did the first time, get the pump and the filter running. I'll trim the liner around the edge of the pool. I'll repaint the deck. It needs a fresh coat of paint. I do have some touch-up work to do on this waterfall. Now, a lot of people also commented on this waterfall. As you can see, I need some caulking. Okay, it's starting to get weathered from one season. This waterfall that I bought on Amazon is acrylic. Now, you can buy these waterfalls in different lengths. This happens to be 36 inches from end to end, and it's made out of acrylic. You can get them in stainless as well. But let me tell you something about acrylic, and most people should know this. You can't leave acrylic out in the sun. It will crack. It gets brittle. The UV radiation from the sun is going to destroy it within weeks. It's not going to take long. So that's why this whole waterfall is actually encased in wood. It's protecting it from getting brittle. Now, I can take it apart. There's screws on there, and I can take the whole thing apart and take it out. It's not sealed up permanently, but it's mounted to the deck. It's all acrylic, encased in wood. I stand on there and I jump off. I use it as a platform to jump into the pool. But that's it. All you have to do is Google, or not Google, go to Amazon and go to the search bar and type in above ground pool waterfall. Just like that ladder. Everybody asked me, where did you get it? Can you send me the link? Okay, people, listen, it's not that difficult. Go to Google and type in the search bar above ground pool ladder. You'll see pictures of it. Click on it. Okay, some of this stuff is really easy. A lot of you people are asking me for links. All you have to do is just Google it, and there it is. It's nothing exotic. It's standard stuff. Let me see what else. The paint that I put down here, which is a fresh coat of paint, is gray. Now, last year it was kind of a sand color. They did not have any more of that sand color. This paint is called non-skid paint. They sell it at Lowe's, and basically it's paint with sand already mixed in it. Now you can try and be slick and go get a bag of play sand and dump it in a bucket of paint and mix it. Yeah, but it doesn't work. I'm gonna tell you why. Sand is very dense, it's heavy. When you mix it in a can of paint, even if you shake it up, it's gonna all settle on the bottom. When you go to pour it in the paint pan, it's still gonna be in the bottom of the gallon bucket. The paint roller will not pick it up. It's too heavy. So you have to get this, and I forgot what brand it is, but again, it's at Lowe's. It's called non-skid paint. The sand is very fine, and it's not as dense, and it pretty much stays mixed. You can see it. Okay, and the reason I put this down, I didn't have it last year, is because if you recall the video before when it showed the pool up, there was about 18 inches of concrete reveal around the pool. And that's where I would walk with my hand skimmer and skim the top of the water, and it was slippery. So now I'm getting ready to set the pool up next weekend, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to cover the whole thing. And it's gray because they didn't have the color I wanted. This was all I was able to get. So I will go through my pump system. This is what it looks like, obviously, without the pool in place. I need to go through and make sure and fill that. I have to fill the whole thing with water. It's still got the sand in it. I was very, very lucky because, as you people know, Texas got their ass kicked not long ago with that freeze that came through, which is why that sago palm is history. That thing did not survive, and I actually covered it. I built a frame around it and covered it with moving blankets, and it still did not survive. So that was a $600 sago palm, and now it's toast. So I have the nursery that's going to come and pull it out. They're going to give me another one. It was insured, believe it or not. You can pay $100 and it's insured for 1 year. And thank God I did that, because now they're going to replace it for free. So again, because I was smart enough to drain everything, you have to drain every drop out of your pipes. If I would have left water in the pipes or in the canister there where the sand is, and we had that freeze, oh my God, everything would have busted. The pump would have busted, the impeller, the canister, the holds, everything would have broke. Water expands when it freezes, and all of this would have been destroyed. I would have had to rebuild everything. But I didn't know that we were going to have the freeze. That was a freak thing that happened, but I was smart enough to know to drain everything for the off season. Now, there are people that will say, well, we just leave our pool up year round and we put a tarp on it. Okay, you can do that, but to me, that makes no sense, because here in Austin, we're gonna get maybe 4 months of swim time in a pool, and there's gonna be about 8 months of weather that's just too cold. The water's too icy cold, and we're not gonna swim. So why leave that pool up covered, full of water for 8 months? That makes no sense to me. So I folded up the pool, I drained it, dried it, folded it up, put it in the shed, and we put that pit here with the chairs, so that way we could come out here and enjoy it all year round. So we came out here several times and had a really nice fire. It was beautiful. Okay, so that's basically a wrap. I just wanted to follow up because there were a lot of people that wanted to know if I could make a video a year out, you know, give it a season or two and let them know how the pool held up. So if you subscribed to my channel, you should be seeing this video. So far so good. I don't know, we'll see. This will be summer number 2 and we'll see how that pool holds up. I know it's vinyl and it's a cheap pool, but we'll see.